Hey, buddy. Hey, bunnies, how you going? Welcome back to Stardew Valley. There's so many audios happening. I really wish Stardew Valley muted itself when I was in a different screen. That'll do. Anyway, hi, welcome back. Playing Stardew Valley again. We did skip our morning stream this week. I'm gonna try and organize maybe like a Void Crew session or something with everyone Sunday morning. We'll see. Yeah, if not, probably Ready or Not or some other co-op shootery game. Yeah. All right, I have like maybe a sore throat. Something weird's going on. So I don't know how my voice is going to be for the stream. It's also like obviously later than normal. If I am just like getting too tired, I might stop it early because there's no point in streaming if it's boring to watch. And I'm not enjoying it. So yeah, let's get into it. Last we were there, I think bought a barnyard, but we can't afford cows and pigs yet, and it's not finished being built yet also. So like, yeah, lots of stuff going on. Anyway, let's jump into it. We have 12k, so we could buy animals. Oh, hang on. Does that pause? Yes. Gold for the blacksmith bundle. And Raj said, hell yeah. I just remembered that I had notes set up from last time and I'm looking through them. I was looking into the recycling bin? Oh yeah, looking at the recycling bin, we wanted a beehive, we wanted to try sprinklers. Oh, we wanted to just buy... Do we want to buy a gold ingot or do we want to just monster hunt? Probably just monster hunt, right? Go down the dungeons. I wanted to upgrade the axe for the trees. It's not necessary, I guess. But I think we'll start off by seeing if I can afford any of these. The sprinklers are a dungeon anyway, so we'll just go to the dungeon. We'll check what we need for the beehive. I think we need maple syrup for the beehive, so we might have to wait. Check what we need for the recycling bin, and then we'll go to the dungeon to get the stuff for all the rest of these things. That's my situation that I'm gonna... You go, Robin. You go. Yeah, how you doing, Luca? Oh yeah, I was gonna put that back because I don't think I really need it. We're not doing geodes today. We don't need the wood. We could hold on to the coal. Put the pine cones back. And for the gym, nice. I'm pretty good. I'm late to the stream and I'm feeling like a little bit kind of, I don't know, sick, I guess. So the stream might be quick. We'll see how I go. I don't think I'm sick. I think I'm just tired. So, yeah, I don't know. Oops. So we'll finish watering these plants. We'll check the recycling and all that. I'm gonna push it. Yeah, exactly. Don't want to go full exhaustion and then just not turn up for the next few streams. That would be bad. What's going on? Can I cancel this? It's looking like no. Oh, did I put the stuff for the summer? Did I put the stuff for the summer thing on the... No. Did I plant blueberry and tomato? That must be what that is. Yeah, I must have planted it. Alright. Is that what that is? Yeah, it must be. Now, I didn't actually pet the chickens. I haven't pet the cat yet. Nothing in there. Already got Mayo going. You need to get out of my... Is this an issue? Do I have to worry about that? Like, should I be fencing around this and not them? That's 3, but there's 4 chickens. Where's the other one? Yeah, is the chickens going through my crops bad for me? Or is it fine? No? Okay, cool. I'm gonna put the maple syrup away because, like... Sorry, it's not maple, it's pine tar. I don't know if that's useful for anything. I need cheese press, but not right now. Recycling machine is wood stone and an iron bar. We don't have no, we do. Do we have an iron bar? We do. And do we have 50 wood and 50 stone? We have wood because I put some there. Maybe I should try and... No. I'll put this in here so I know it's here. But I'll do... Yeah, you must have used all the stone for Robin. So I'll do the mine now so that we'll have stone for the recycling machine we get back. I do want the worm bin. And there was something else, the bee house I wanted, which I need maple syrup for, so we can't get that anyway. And we obviously need a lot of... So we just need a lot of iron and gold, so we should just go to the mine and do that, I guess. Because, like... I should say hi to people. How much is that for? 10,000. I can afford that. I might? Alright. I do want to find Penny. I should probably talk to this guy. I'm trying to. Do you want some blueberries? Alright. Does that mean you enjoy all fruits or just blueberries? You're not in there. Pam, still going to Jojo Mart. That's her. It's not special. I grew it. Yeah, I haven't really decorated. I've kind of just thrown everything that I've got on the ground near my house. So, sure. This game is telling me that time is fleeting and therefore I can't decorate anything. Because there's no time to decorate. I've got crops. Ooh, a skeleton. Why aren't you getting thrown back? Alright, that must be useful for something. Alright, I got my iron bar. For sure. I should probably try and do speed over resources so that I can come back and do more. Those skeletons aren't very useful. Do they just get stronger via... like... population? Or are they just one of the easiest enemies we've ever encountered? Oh, they can throw stuff. That makes sense. A little bit more difficult. Gotta be quick to get rid of them. See. Oh, just the hammer's good at them? Maybe that's what it is. May as well get some iron while I'm here, right? We do need a lot. Keep them, they have a chance to drop a really good sword. Nice. I should probably eat something, huh? All right. That was quick. One shot KO for a bat? That's weird. Ooh, we don't have copper. Oh, I can break those. But I can't break the ones upstairs? Interesting. Oh. I'm not gonna say no to gold ore. Have I been down here? Yes. I tricked the bat. Ooh. I do like this huge stone. I feel like I should probably go home. Maybe we go home at like 10. Because I feel like I'm always getting home too late and wasting money. And I should have enough stuff to like start making that recycling thing. Oh, I don't have gold for like the sprinkler or anything, but we love a topaz. I think that's just for money, right? I'd like some sneaky copper to appear. Be nice to just blast through some of this stuff, but I don't want to go backwards to the easier dungeons. Why do they, like... They have a really weird knockback situation going on. Why is that boulder green? I'm gonna touch it. Jade boulder, okay. I'll take it. Ooh. Alright, I should probably go. I should probably get up the ladder. What's in a ladder? Really hoping that was the thing. No ladder here. Alright, I'm gonna try and kill this slime, maybe he'll drop a ladder. Although I guess it doesn't matter anyway. That's alright, we got one elevator cross, so that's fine. Jades will be useful later on. Oh, so I should keep them? Okay. I think I've seen a few and I've sold them. I've definitely sold at least one. I've already given one to Gunther. I can make it. Don't worry. Need to get that walk speed food that I got earlier for... Use this currency later on. Okay. It's very important then. Get punched. 1280. I'm sure they can buy me a cow once that's done. Ooh. Alright, so... Put that in there. Put some jade in there. We'll sell the topaz. And the batwing. I mean, no chickens died, so we're good. Ooh, large egg. But that's not important anyway, because I'll mayo it. I should have everything now to make that recycling machine. And we'll put it here, I guess. I'll just sell the tears and the jam. I'll keep the grape for wine. And we should probably do geodes. I'll keep the bone fragments because I have no idea what they're useful for yet, but I feel like they must be useful for something. Again, keep the pine tar because I don't know what that's for. Interesting. I definitely didn't want a radish. That's near the spa? Am I right? The train? Is that important? I know that they drop, like, resources, but, like, good resources? Surely I bought and am growing blueberries. Oh, it's an artifact, okay. But I don't know what the blueberries look like, and I'm a bit worried about that. Can I make gold? 5 ores, okay. I guess we just keep putting iron in, huh? Alright, now we just need to water the cat. We'll do the geodes. Something that worth it drops hardwood and stone. Okay. Good to know. $30 needs to go, I think. Okay, nice. Alright, chicken's a pet, cat's pet. These are all watered. Time to get the geodes done from Gunther. Try and do another 5 levels in the... Sorry, artifact while I'm doing that. And then see if I can get another 5 levels from the dungeon. And I'll give one of those blueberries to... Lewis, I guess? I will not. So many people around. And I'm already so out of energy. We really need to work on the sprinklers. May as well read what it's about, right? There's not like a ticking clock in the corner of the screen at all times, right? Old sweat that was once attached to a cowboy's boot. People must have been raising animals in this area for many generations. Interesting. Interesting. I like that this is just like loot boxes, essentially. I must donate. I could organize these, but I'm not going to. Ooh. I really don't know about your furniture, my guy. Ornamental stone in sculpture. Goes in brilliant clusters. Despite toxicity, mineral is well used in manufacturing and folk medicine. Looking for that travelling merchant in the secret woods on Fridays, and Sundays Mayo has a rare seed. If you're lucky, buy it before fall starts, it'll help you with your energy. I see. So it'll go from Friday to Sunday, so I'll check if it's there on Friday, and then on Sunday, check if it gets a special rare seed. Penny. It's not. Oh, Jesus. I feel like I should have made a coffee. Fair enough. Is the grape a wild thing? No. I'm assuming you won't want this then. Please drop that super cool... Did you just boomerang that bone at me? Like full-on boomerang? That was insane. How did you do that? More jade, nice. This music is not the vibe for a creepy dungeon. Every time I hear it, I'm expecting to be like Undertale sad. Like it reminds me of like sad Undertale music, or like I don't know, like otherwise it gives the vibe of like I think I said that last time, the like kind of 80s, 90s, like just melancholy vibes at like the start of, you know, an adventure of some kind. You're really getting in the way of my ladder time, my guy. I've been super unlucky, huh? There you go. Just do a quick check around here. Maybe there's at least iron. Some more skeletons too. A full-on diamond, let's go. Let's go. Yeah, sometimes the music's a bit like scary, but never in the dungeons. The like backing music to the dungeons is scary. Like when they're not playing music, it's like pretty scary because you just hear like, it's kind of like an echoey ghost voice, I guess. Do I need that? Who knows? Okay, we've been here already. Why are you stuck? Oh, didn't saw weapon properly. I've already got that shoe, but I guess I'll take it again. Can I get cold? No. Not this, like, not other than a status effect, it's not. There's no temperature. I'm not playing Project Zomboid or something. I don't think this game would be as popular as it is if there was a temperature setting, I'll be honest. The game's got so much going on already. If someone had to deal with like how cold they are as well, I think even the tryhard fans would have just been like, no, this is just annoying. Oh, calm down. You've barely done anything. Oh no, I'm running out of energy. My god. Did I seriously not find the ladder yet? I mean, I will make it to 80, I guess. And I found a diamond, so like we're already winning. I don't think those crystals have ladders, or at least I've never seen one come from a crystal, so I'll ignore all of them. Because I don't even get anything from them anyway. Even now, I remove the fishing minigame because it's too stressful for them, so the temperature thing would be... Yeah. Whoa, what? C's? C? That's a weird button to click to use your left click. Actually, that's the same. That's for Unity, isn't it? Unity does C's interact. That's such a weird button. I always wondered why Unity did that for a default as well. Uh-oh, I'm screwed. Already I'm gonna tab too many times and completely overshoot. No? Okay, cool. You... It's 12 o'clock? What the hell? So we're in hell now, right? We've just entered the nether? That's what those sounds meant to me. I believe I've seen this part of the dungeon though. Yeah, there's like, it's like actually lava. Like it's essentially the nether, and there's like those little fire worm, those like worms come back, but they've got fire now or something. I can make it. Can make it. And when we nap, I'm going to drink the rest of my tea. So excuse me if I just go ham on some tea real quick. Oh. The war has started. What do you mean mystery boxes can now be found? Oh, I'm almost done with summer. Huh. I hope I planted those correctly. Might as well plant that, yeah. I'm assuming I want to keep the diamond. Oh, I should plant. I'll place my annoying decorations that I have not. I don't. This painting's huge. Can I put it in the chicken pen? Ooh. Not really. Can I fit it in the sick new barnyard we've got? Also not really. Alright, I'm just gonna put it in a storage container then. Completely unorganized. You can put it behind the fireplace. Okay, I'll do that just so it's out there. Aha! That doesn't seem physically possible. 3 defense, 3 immunity. Well, I'll take that. Should I just sell the old boots? Is there like a reason to keep them? Well, I'm getting extra now. I should just sell them, huh? Can I sell them here? No, you've got to sell them at a Monsters Guild, don't you? Alright. Should I sell the Jamborite? Oh, for some reason I thought they were empty. I was just like, yeah. We got 2 large eggs, let's go. And large eggs give you the gold mayo, or is that just luck? I'm just gonna sell those. I don't know what they're used for yet, and why not? I really kind of expected the diamond to be part of a... It must be part of a thing, right? But I'll give it to Gunther first, I guess. Clearly I gotta make hot pepper jam, right? Alright, let's... What are these plants? No, sorry, we should pet the chickens. Pet the cat, water the cat. Check the fruit. Nothing. We want to buy barnyard animals too, but what are the plants now? Whoops. very quiet right now. It'd be cool if they had some music going for me. Oops. Really? Unlikely. I think that's it. Yeah. My brain just stopped working because I was looking just so intently at the screen. We have one more egg. Actually, we might have two more. No, one more. Alright. Now, obviously we need to preserve some hot peppers, but the gold stuff will just sell, because there's no point. But gold wine I want to keep? I don't know if I do or not. I don't think I want to go further just yet. In dungeon? Give that to Gunther, we'll break those geodes. Put that iron back. Think that's alright? Oh, I should get the... I'm gonna Gunther and Co. I should probably bring all of my sellable items that I don't want. I should check it just in case. No, I'm not getting you a tuna, I'm sorry. I'm sure I've already given you 2 gifts this week. Yeah. I heard you like pizza. I can't get you a pizza, but I heard you like it. Interesting sentence there, sir. Why you got your hair the way that it is just for women? Hmm? Oh, I do like that. Can I just put it down here? Oh, I can. I'll just leave it there. I don't really want it in my house, but it looks cool there. Alright, useful. I mean, technically useful. So we'll sell these monster gear, and then I guess we'll just go back, clear out the farm. Oh no, we did it. It's too late to buy barnyard animals now, isn't it? I'll do that tomorrow. Dang it. I completely forgot. I guess we can just see what the guild's about then. No other thing we need to do. Sorry, the dungeon, level 80. Yeah, completely out of the field of things. He's gonna burn me, isn't he? No? Is he just a red slime? Ooh. That's gold. Nice. Why is that red? What's the go there? I do want gold. I don't like that that's an enemy. I'm gonna leave you. It's getting a bit dark in here. The chest. The wooden box. Gonna have to eat it. Ooh, a magma geode. Ooh, a normal geode. Come on, give me a quick ladder. Now, do I mine or do I just keep moving? I'm scared of this. That's a diamond? No, aquamarine. Ooh, I have to hit him while his back is turned? Is that what I'm getting? Ooh, rocks just drop gold ore a lot now. Sick. Alright, I mean, I'll take it. Oh. The, like, evil sounds sounded like my computer, like, exploding due to heat. And I just had to make sure that my computer wasn't severely overheating due to Stardew Valley. Alright, let's go back up. We'll use some of the wood to make a fence around the barn for when we buy the animals tomorrow. So that tomorrow's Wednesday and Marnie gets Wednesday off, doesn't she? Is that just Robin? No, 9 to 4 most days. Oh, it says that for Robin as well, though. I don't know why I'm dying. I think I just didn't sleep enough last night. I'm an old man now. So what did I get? A lot of gold. Which is good. We need a lot of gold. For the sprinklers. Oh, and a lot of Gunther stuff too. I mean, I don't know why I need the fiber, but I'll keep it. Haven't seen anything super important to keep fiber for because fiber's very easy to get. No more eggs in here. Ooh, I need... Oh, there's that mystery box that they were talking about. I don't know how fences work in this game. Like, I don't know if there's like a real problem that comes in. Because if there is, these chickens aren't protected. Did it just give me wood for hacking that? Kind of expected it to give me, you know, more fence. I mean, that works. Ugh. And for you to keep your animals from wandering off too much on the farm before you pet them. Oh, I see. So if I leave the fence open, it's unnecessary. Because I thought someone told me I can break it? Okay, for some reason I thought that this was one I couldn't break. Alright. And for some reason I thought that there was like a random event with like a wolf or something. But I guess it does make sense that there wouldn't be anything that could physically hurt the animals. But alright, so I just keep them in there and pet them and then leave. It's 2 AM. Whoops. Oh, their actual pen? I see. Unrelated to the fence. Is it tomatoes? Did I just get tomatoes? Let's go. Still no blueberries. That's worrying me. Wait a minute. Nice. It should all go good. Unless I die midstream, which is likely. I'm slowly losing steam. But I reckon I could survive an hour or two. Definitely should have started this at least an hour earlier. I feel like those original sprinklers are essentially useless. You've got to spend so much to do anything, but like using them in conjunction with your watering can seems useless. Because... oh my god, pick up this, clearly. Because just like getting around the sprinklers, you end up watering half the stuff you've sprinkled anyway, and you end up just like why did I bother? $700G? Are you sure? That's full. Let's water the cat bowl. What did you just pounce on? Oh, I forgot that I fell asleep. Outside. And my energy's all gone. Alright. Tomatoes are vegetable, interesting. So I need one at least. I'll sell the rest. Well, I'll keep the small stuff. Blacksmith can open the mystery box. Interesting. So where we need to plug those eggs in. And let's do some quartz. Sick. Alright, let's just take those tomatoes straight to the area. Hang on. Let's check I can buy some cows and pigs from Marnie. What are you doing here, buddy? Suspicious. I think Luca already has a chicken named after them, so I'll just... Pricky is the new animal. I want... is it like a bull? You need a big bun for a bull? There are different types of chickens. You need a deluxe barn. Is that a pig? You need a deluxe barn for a pig? Interesting. Casper the goat, the moo? I don't... Werto, absolutely. There's some interesting randomized names here and I love them. Oh, they've got our teddy bear. Alright, let's meet Werto and... Pricky? Oh, do I need to buy a bucket for these guys? Whoops. I need the gold bar. So the gold bar and the tomato are both for the thing. For the, you know, you get it. The community center. So we'll go there. I feel like I need... Okay, community center isn't time restricted, so I'll go to Gunther first and see if I can buy a bucket from him. I feel like I need a bucket to milk the cows. That's pretty cool. He's just like, hey, you like gardens, how about you make gardens for the town? Maybe Lewis isn't so bad after all. Alright, we'll go here first because we got the geodes. Oh my god, punching things. Shop? No. I don't know. Is that specifically summer seeds? Or is it completely random? Oh, there's no... Internet has been asking me about slugs for weeks, so I've prepared a whole lesson on them. They're pretty interesting. Whenever I see a banana slug, I feel like it's a sign of good luck. That's interesting. No reward. Excuse me. Yeah, that's part of my house decorations. I just left it here. Interesting. Alright, so I've got no idea how to harvest cows. Are they meat cows? Do I just let them grow up and then kill? Or is it a Robin thing, maybe? Maybe Robin sells, sorry for yawning constantly. Oh, I never put the iron in there. Alright, I'll do that tomorrow, I guess. I mean, I probably could run here and back, but... Here? Not here, that's the foraging. Here. Everyone's here. I don't think that was research at all, Demetrius. I think you paid me to make melons for you. See ya. Whoops. I thought room wasn't open Wednesdays. Okay, we're no closer to figuring out how we get milk from the cow. I could make a crab pot, but then I would also need to start making bait. Oh, it's Willie's birthday. I don't think I've ever caught a red mullet. I'm not going to do that. Do you sell a bucket? Oh, Pierre's is closed Wednesdays. It's we still got at least 6 days left of summer. I reckon. I'm gonna risk it with those seeds. I I didn't need to even do any of that, did I? Alright, mayo, 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 we can sell all that. Egg. No more of that. I don't know where the second one came from, but it's there now. Alright, and then we quickly run to the community center with an iron ingot. I'm not in a hurry to make iron ingots just yet. But yeah, we'll go to community center, finish off that bundle completely, and get a reward. I have probably sold something important for the geologist bundle too. I haven't really been checking. Because I've been putting it all into Gunther's thing first. We could use a second one, I guess. Okay, we get minecarts repaired if we find a fire quartz, and I'm sure we're in the fire area. So that's going to be done soon. So I guess tomorrow we go back to the fire area and see if we can find some fire quartz. But it would also be nice if we had some food. We do have jelly. But that's more about, like, you know, jelly isn't like food. It doubles in energy it gives you. Actually, preserving it doubles everything. That's pretty good. We can make gold now too, so we're getting there. Keep the tomatoes just in case I can use it. We do have the ability to make one field bar. When I say one, we can actually make 3 field bars. That is pretty much the only other source of food we can make. Yeah, I have no idea if there's like a way to cook stuff properly. I know there's recipes, but I don't know if I can like level that up or there's no cooking recipes. Almost fishing and almost combat. What's a smallholder? Is that like that building is called a smallhold? I don't know. I guess you just get recipes. See, that's a thing, right? How do I... Can I only cook that? Can I get like a specific thing? I know I can make the fire pit somewhere. Cookout kit. Is there any way for me to cook not on the go? Thought maybe it was like don't starve. I guess I should make the cookout kit, huh? And just like leave it around the base. Because huge energy for farmer's lunch if I have an omelette and a parsnip, and I've got eggs. So, like, I could do that. Moss soup I could make? I don't know. Bookseller's in town today. Oh, I got a hot pepper. Just one hot pepper. Alright. Melons look good. Well, that's a lot of melons. Now, it doesn't increase the rarity, so I'm assuming a gold star melon is not as good as a... Like, it's not worth preserving a gold star melon. It might be worth it for a silver star, but only just. I'll plant the sunflower seeds again, but I think they're gonna die before they grow. See, my character in this game is less of a farmer and more of a gardener at best. Oh, I forgot to let my boys out. Very unsure about how the cows work. Oh, the cookout dies in one day. Alright, how do I do this then? There must be a way to cook stuff for real. But how? That is all done. Now we gotta water the cat. Pat the cat. Maple syrup? No. There is now a tree in the way of my maple tree though. More jam, perhaps? Alright, where's my cat? There he is. Alright, let's find old mate and give him a hot pepper. Alright, hop over for George. And then I might be able to finish the dungeon, but I don't know. Depends how fast I can find George. I haven't got any blueberries for you yet today, sir. But maybe tomorrow? Oh, that dog is there. He's just hiding. Does Evelyn live here? Yes. Nice. I can't make ale yet. I got the recipe for it though, didn't I? Oh no, did it say like I could get the recipe for it? I don't know if that's farming or... something else. You'd assume it'd be farming. Probably won't make it to the end of the dungeon, but I might find a fire quartz. Ooh, new ideas. Oh, I got the combat level up? Hell yeah. No, like, ladder somewhere. Get absolutely smacked, buddy. What is going on? I'm going to dig through the entire thing, aren't I? The one time I'm in a hurry too. Ah. That's a fire quartz, isn't it? Nice. A very angry slime. Ooh. Don't mind if I do. Come on. It's just nothing. I'm seeing nothing. Geodes at least. I mean, I got what I came here for, which was the fire quartz. So, I'm not unhappy. Fire bats, what is this? I mean, I got something out of it. It'll do. That's a ladder. Just gonna go it. There was a lot of stuff there. Maybe I shouldn't have gone it. There's a wizard. Guys, there's a wizard. That looks like diamond. Under 44. I mean, it's a good damage. Let's try it. I'll take it. I needed Void Essence for something. Is that for the... Not for the Geologist bundle, but something, right? Oh, it was for the... other thing. I remember. Don't you worry about that. I'm pretty okay with this sword. I might just have to go. Oh, but how good would it be if I find it? How good was it? Ooh, I wonder if Obsidian Edge is better than the sword I just got. Oops. Oh, it worked anyway. Because the thing is, if I put this fire quartz into the community center right now, I believe the minecarts begin to run, which means I don't have to worry about the time spent at the start, because that walk gets cut off, right? Because it's just right there next to your base. Your base, your farm. This isn't a survival game. Although, you know, maybe it is. I don't know if I'll make it back home, but I will finish this. Yep. Am I... like... Alright. That's sick. I don't know if they were trying to tell me something there, but... I'm not gonna make it. Nice. I think just fighter. We got a big bomb recipe, nice. 4K farming? For the sunflowers? I guess the mayo, mostly. The melon jelly also really helped. And I lost like probably 1,000 of that to death. Rain, this is good. I don't have to worry about raining. Blueberries. Inventory's full. I think we'll keep the Void Essence just because it seems important. I will put like half of that in there. Solid gold, blueberry. Again, I'll plant the sunflower seeds just because it's still summer and I have them, but I don't think they will. Oh no, they can be planted through fall, can't they? So I'll just sell the diamond because, yeah, I'm doing it. Also sell the emerald, sell the mayo. We will put the mallet away. It's slightly better with more speed and more crit power. So I might use that instead. Sell the bat wings. This is telling me a Joja team member found you incapacitated. 834. Of course Morris does 834. That sounds like him. Let's do 2 more gold. Inventory organization is the worst part about this whole thing. No. No, don't eat egg. Why would it eat egg? Okay, they're all 2 hearts. That one's 1 heart for some reason. Maybe I missed it one day. Is the cat indoors? I can't remember. Yes. Can I pat the cat? Can I look at the cat's... Does the cat like me? Ooh. I can now make a beehive. Iron bar, coal and wood. I've got no organization in this place. Just got the blueberry there. Oh, we got the 5 melons. We can take them there too. I can't remember. Is that 10 hay? Oh, we got a large white egg. It's 10 hay. Which, I mean, we can get 10 hay. That should be fine. We'll just do that. How much hay do we have? It's because it's full, isn't it? Can I grab them straight from the silo, maybe? Nope. I don't have much hay, though. A lot of fiber. Some hay. Put the hay back because I don't need it right now. Actually, how do I do this? Is it up here that the minecart is? Yes. Oh. Nice. I didn't realize it was like a multi... Why did I go here? Geodes. And also I thought it was probably close to the community center. Ooh, iridium. That's important, isn't it? What is that? Oh, well, that's a Gunther situation, isn't it? Like, oh, dwarves were smarter than they appeared. I'm assuming that's how he talks, right? Oh, no I don't. I don't mind a chicken statue. Alright, the rest I can sell, so I'm happy with that. So we just need to take the... we need to give a blueberry to Lewis as well. It's definitely faster to use that minecart than to walk all the way. That's done with this. Five-star melon area. Oh, that says that's done. Cool. That must have been what he was trying to tell me. Oh, I didn't even realize that corn was one of the things. I've probably been sold 10 of the gold things, I reckon. Is the quality sprinkler the second? Okay, cool. I'm happy with that. Alright. We now have a new sprinkler, that's great. Try and give a blueberry to Lewis, who I wonder if he's in the... Yeah, he is. He does love a blueberry, doesn't he? Interesting. So we'll sell all these, except the iridium, of course, because that's important. Blueberry goes in the jam, chicken statue goes next to the chickens, obviously. As a god that they worship. That's my best assumption. Just like scroll around and see if that thing goes off at any point. No, cool. Alright, mineral goes here. Just gonna sell that. Are all the minerals, or just the jade one important? Nah. Should be right. We got no eggs left. We can smelt some more stuff though. We got one egg. We will smelt some iron. Alright, what do I do now? Just chop down some trees, I guess. I don't really have enough energy to do anything kind of important. Now we have that beach totem as well, which we could use to get to some quick fishing area. If I can figure out how to make it. Can I cook on a campfire? Not sure. Again, really not sure how to... Okay, 1 hardwood, 2 coral. That is... so easy. Did I make it? No copper. We've got 5 copper though, we could probably upgrade. Although, I don't want to upgrade the whole... I guess that it probably upgrades the range of it? I don't know. Doesn't seem important. I guess there's no reason not to put it there for now. I don't know what else we need copper for. I feel like it's just upgrading the scythe and the hoe. And I don't know if I care. I think I'm better off upgrading all the tools to iron instead, right? I'm assuming I need 5 iridium to make an iridium bar. Wool into cloth. A worm bin might be nice. And I can make that with everything we got here too. Was it gold and iron? Is there anything else cool that we could use? I want a cheese press when I can make the cheese. I still don't know how to milk a cow. Or if, like, maybe I can't milk them until they're, like, full, if that makes sense. So, like, it takes a couple days instead of, like, with the chickens, it's, like, an egg a day. Now, I could make a crab pot. If I have a beach totem, a crab pot would be useful. At the moment, I think it's just more annoying than useful. I'm assuming I can't cook on a campfire, which seems silly. That's kind of the point of a campfire. Salmon. Oh yeah, again, I should sell the gold fruits. Other than the wine, I think the wine's probably fine. Like I'm gonna keep the grapes for wine purposes when I can do that. I have to assume it's like a late farming. Although you forage grapes, like it could be a recipe you get from foraging. Oh, hang on. It's really too late for me to do anything about this, but I was supposed to check if there was a traveling salesman person on Friday, wasn't I? I'll check on it. It's just down here, isn't it? Usually? There's a cart. I'm assuming that means it's there. Yeah. Is that just from the diamond? No. It's actually not great for the diamond, to be honest, from what I expected. So I've got like 3 more days of summer. We got bait. I think that's it. Did I miss that blueberry, or did I plant that later than the rest of them? On that corn there. That's done. Okay, I need a white egg. That'll do me surely. I think I need 4 or 6. Yeah, so I'll keep those 6 on me. That should be able to go to the thing. Now, can I milk you? I feel like Markiplier. How do I milk you? Oh. Didn't get the right order, but that's fine. Oh, I can make the blueberry jam. I can't believe I didn't use the big egg first, but that's fine. Put the bait in there. We'll sell the corn and the sunflower. Sell the gold squash. Sell the stone, why not? That's all good. What am I doing? I want to go to the community center. Oh, do I want to take 5 copper and see what I can do with that? I should probably buy 2 more cows, but again, I don't really know how to use them yet, and I don't know if I'm wasting... like... I'm like, if I could have milked them by now, and I haven't. Just going straight to the mines. How much faster does that make my life? Not a fan of shadow people. Did he just heal himself? Was that what I saw? This whole place is suspicious. Oh wait, the reason I was going out in the first place was to try and see if I could upgrade anything with copper before I upgraded it to iron. And then I never did that. Because like, Now I'm in the mines, and I won't be out before he closes. Love it. Yeah, like that. That was a good use of that. Broccoli. Is that fall? Is it broccoli? It's like a winter. No, maybe not. Oh, what are you? That's like a Binding of Isaac boss or something. Boss? Maybe not. The Binding of Isaac character. There we go. I just got like massacred. An item. Oh, coal. That's alright. That sucks. They just like... I just had nothing to like push him back with. I should have just kind of walked off, I guess. Yeah. Huh. There's another festival tomorrow. Why? Dying. After this day, I might go go finish stream early. I think this is up, or is it the bulletin? It's the bulletin. I probably technically have the money to get this, to like do some more stuff to the safe. At least this one. A bus repair could be fun. Quality fertilizer is nice. I do have 10k. Why not? I've realized I'm going to be completely poor as soon as summer ends, and I won't be able to buy any more crops, but that's fine. Lightning rods are only useful for like charging batteries, is that? I vaguely remember there was like battery charging. I don't know what the batteries would be for, but I just feel like I saw something about that. Just gonna sell the void essence. I've got no idea what it could be for. All the coal I got went. I guess we'll put seeds in this chest with the fertilizer. That makes sense. Pull the sap out of there too. We need to sell those grapes. Might as well just sell this. Well, I'll eat it then, I guess. Large egg we've got in here. We can make 5 field snacks. Yeah, they are babies at the moment. I guess I have to wait for them to grow up before I can milk them. That's usually how it works. And while I have some energy left and some time left, we'll just smack this. Oh, should I check on the traveler before it becomes fully nighttime? Traveling merchant, I guess is what I should be saying. And I'll check them for a seed. I mean, I don't know. I don't even know if, like, wait. So they had already closed up shop? On Friday? And they're gone now? So I'm assuming they're not gonna be here on the Sunday. Have we caught a pike before? I feel like we have. I was never gonna catch that. Whoops. 3 maxes in a row. I'm getting pretty good at this. Can try the glasses out on that recycling. Am I actively... Like, is that a thing that sometimes, like, while you're fishing, there'll be no more fish, and you'll start doing trash? Because that's how I feel when I'm fishing. I don't know if it's just like... Well, he's like pretty lively. It could be something. I mean, I just got really lucky with him. I feel like it should be easier as time goes on, not harder. Like, I should be wearing the fish down, not myself down. Alright. Just a big pike, I guess. If I might have not caught it before, but it's not an important creature in the grand scheme of fishing, according to this game. I don't know if it's like monetary value that causes the community center fishing choices, or if it's the words that I'm looking for. Monetary value, or if it's random or like most common. Probably could have saved that for Willy, shouldn't I? I need the money for fall. No bait. It must be like a each day thing. Oh, I should lock those doors so no murder happens. Did it just give me refined quartz from trash? Huh. $16K just from 3 melon jellies is pretty good. Alright, that's enough to get me going at least. Now we're gonna come back to that bed because I'm gonna call it quits. That does look like refined quartz. Oh, the moonlight jellies. They've been talking about that forever. Alright, and I need to go to the beach to get the beach totem stuff too. Which, just for reference, 2 coral. Is there anything else I need? Prepare for fall. Exit title. There we go. Actually, no. Let's exit completely so the audio doesn't get confused. So yeah, that's it for the stream. I'm sorry it's a short one, but my voice isn't working properly and I'm pretty tired, so it's probably best that I end the stream early, having fun, than like push myself through and just kind of be boring. Yeah, so sorry, I was scrolling through the Discord, and the latest game suggestion is a game called Polyamory. Same devs as Only Cans, apparently. It's similar to, like, I guess, Date Everything, except it's about guns. Interesting. I'm probably not going to play that one, I'll be honest, but it's interesting. Yeah, I feel like we got a fair bit done today, where we've got the farm a lot more set up and automated. We're making so much money off Mayo so that I don't need to kind of worry as much, because I often am having the money needed to buy the stuff that I need at that time. I really want to get into the wine and beer portion, because I know that those make you a lot of money. And like, we've only got 3 quests, which is get to the bottom of the mine and give Pam a beer. And we can't give Pam a beer. But yeah, we're getting there. I'll try and buy 2 more cows, because I'm assuming you've got to level up those cows. You've got to age up those cows until they provide milk that you can use for cheese and stuff like that. And I think cheese is another one that, like, you can always get to gold quality. I think that's why with wine, you like put the thing in and it goes up a quality, so you just keep putting it in until it's gold, right? Is that wrong? Or it's always gold, I don't know. The artisan stuff that is expensive, so I'm happy to make the cheese when we can do that. We're almost at the end of the dungeon. I say the end of the dungeon. I know there's like 2 other dungeons that have 100 levels in it, I think. One of them's like a DLC though, right? I don't know. Yeah, I'm keen to start beach totems. The minecart has saved us time, immense time. We're gonna get so much more done. Yeah, so I didn't stream Monday morning, if anyone's here and was wondering why I hadn't streamed Monday morning, for my co-op streams. And that's just because I was away before that, and I was tired, and I prefer to just kind of chill that day. So I'm going to try and do a morning stream on Sunday co-op. I'm going to try and get a team together to play Void Crew. We'll see how that goes. It shouldn't be a problem, but I don't know. Either way, there'll be some kind of co-op, probably PvE shootery game Sunday morning. Even if it's just single player playing a PvE by myself. Yeah, alright, cool. Thanks for watching. Check me out on Discord to kind of figure out when I'm streaming, and also just talk about games that I'm streaming or games that you want to see me streaming. I'm on Blue Sky, I'm on X. I say I'm on X. I'm on Blue Sky and I post to X. I haven't looked at it in months. But I do have notifications on for messages, so if you want to message me, you can. But yeah, mostly using Blue Sky. But not even really using Blue Sky, mostly just posting on it, to be honest. I feel like the age of short form tweets is over. I'm mostly looking at Tumblr at the moment. Nothing important, just Tumblr memes. And TikTok, obviously. I should post more to TikTok. If you have any suggestions for, if you see me do something stupid on Twitch, make sure to clip it so that I can go, oh, that's kind of funny, and put it on TikTok. Yeah, cool. All right, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Signing out.